Alrighty, hey everyone, I'm Roy from Traklife, and we also have Kiana from Traklife here as well from the team. And so today we're speaking with the one and only SNT James. Great having you today, man.
Hey, appreciate it.
Yeah, this guy is amazing. He has thousands of views, so many monthly listeners, and has some dope songs out right now. If you guys haven't checked them out on Spotify, all that good stuff. So again, SNT James, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. How are you feeling today, man? How's the energy? What's the vibe like today for you?
Oh man, I'm blessed and highly favored. You know what I'm saying? So just straight up off the top, we try to like conjure up a consistent intention for gratitude throughout the day.
Yeah.
Just call shots, you know what I mean? So I got nothing. If I'm really paying attention, I got nothing but things to be grateful for, you know what I mean? So just being here with you guys is just simply just a grateful energy off the top. So
amazing.
I love that. I definitely did gratifications like today too as well. So just to relate to that, definitely within like my spiritual journey as well. That's really nice.
Straight up. Yeah, we're gonna dive into it for sure. Hopefully we can definitely like make some connections and just expound upon that. But we'll let it flow.
Yeah, for sure. So I wanted to ask you, I know that you mentioned before that, you have this this loud, outgoing type of energy, and you use that in your performances. Can you reflect on the first time that you first performed, and what was that experience like, and where you were?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so ironically, it used to get me in a lot of trouble. It was a source of pain. It was, you know what I mean? It was like an issue. Like, you just, if I laugh and I'm like laughing real loud, you louder than everyone. So my pop was very like, orderly, respect driven. He's a good man, but he just concerned himself with how things are perceived. And so being too loud is like, yo, man, you making this out, you got this out here looking some type of way. You know what I mean? So there was a constant energy for him to try to like suppress. And that's not anything different than what happened like once we got into school and that whole vibe. So, but when you're a child, you really are in combat with the major voices in your life, the voices in your head and your parents, right? So you have an intuition that says, I'm about to be live, I'm about to be hype. And then what you get from that, sometimes the world can try and like, And so just right off the top, it was like, in spaces where I felt like the freedom to be myself, in the shower, whatever, you know what I mean? But like, you liberated in that space. But really it came down to like, school plays and stuff like that. The drama teacher saw something in me, was like, I think you should give it a try. Next thing you know, I'm leading the play and we memorizing lines, and you're not just a goofball kid anymore. You're talented. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I never heard that before. Okay, wow. And so then when I was like 19, a couple of cats that I was running around with, they was like, yo, we finna make some music. You got to get down with us. And I was like, word. And I was like, I just like music. You know what I mean? I was raised, my family's from Detroit, from Motown. So all my family gets loose. Like my auntie can sing, my uncle plays drum, my pop can sing and play bass. My brother's a producer, like you name it, right?
Yeah.
So with this group, my shout out to my diverse link heads. The first musical group I was in, these cats, it was a family, and it was us versus the world. And in fact, Nobodyville comes from the work we did as a youth. We was just a pack of nobodies just trying to do something special. You know what I mean? And the only people who believed in us was us. And so with that group, man, we did numbers, we turned heads, you know what I mean? And it just gave you the source of believing in yourself, but it also taught me a great lesson about who I am as a person, gave me a bit of my fingerprint, like some identity, like you're a leader of men, you know what I mean? And you got energy. And suddenly, right, you get on stage. Like I celebrated my 21st birthday to a sold out crowd of House of Blues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Suddenly, right, you come into the world with this backpack full of energy and boisterousness and just vibes that don't really have a place until you're on stage or until you're in a space where you can express yourself in a medium like that. So suddenly it was game, all bets were off. Like, oh, that's why you're so loud. Oh, that's why you're so, you know what I'm saying, effervescent like that. So it really gave me some value. And, you know, I'll never look back on those days with any level of regret, because it really taught me about who I am as a man. So
that's really cool. The House of Blues. That's that's such an iconic, one of the iconic venues to just sell out. That's amazing. And when it came to that, did you get stage fright at first when you went on? Were you just already like, let's just go?
Never. Stage was home.
Yeah.
Stage was home. You know what I mean? Like you felt more. You felt that's the only place you didn't have to apologize for yourself.
Got it. Okay, and so makes sense. Okay, so then with that though, like a lot of other artists, you know, they do have that stage fright, or they do have that fear of what am I trying to say? Fear of getting on that stage, or fear just in general of overcoming certain situations. Like for yourself, right? Like as an artist, you know, overcoming those fears of, you know, maybe with the group not being seen, but in your mind, you're like, okay, I'm going to be seen. So for you, how would you overcome the fear or self-doubt when you did have those stumps? If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, it's not like it's not that we didn't carry fear. Yeah. It's just that the value outweighed it. Like, oh, we get to go we get to go show what we do and be who we are. Oh, well then, yeah, whatever light needs to be on whoever's in that crowd, or whatever jitters might be on you. Yeah. They go away within the first couple seconds of jumping on. It's like, okay, we in it now. And, you know, once you're in the water, you might as well swim. So, right. So, but as far as like conquering self-doubt and imposter syndrome and things like that, man, it's a journey. It's such a journey. And in fact, in that regard, it's much more like a practice. And the more, you know, we hear these terms a lot, like self-love, and that really is just like investment in yourself and believing in yourself, right? Okay. Right. Well, when you do those things, it gives you assurances. It gives you clarity it gives you self-awareness, right? And so we say around here, like to know a thing is to love a thing, and to love a thing is to know a thing. They're interchangeable, right? Okay. Well, an investment in self is to better know thyself, is to better love thyself. Okay. And so when you have these spaces of doubt, the preparation you put into yourself dissipates that doubt. I mean, relatively quickly at that. Like, and sometimes you get into your head, like, please, man, I got this. It's nothing. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times when you're coming into the booth, so fresh faces, fresh studio, you might not know the engineer or whatever, but when the door closed and it's just you and Mike, it's like, yo, we done done this a million times. Let's go to work. You know what I mean? This is the office. We clocked in right now. Give me my cup of Joe, and we about to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then the next thing you know, everybody's catching into that energy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And this is where relationships find a lot of like discourse from a lack of leadership. Someone is afraid to take responsibility, or afraid to take the first step, or afraid to say, I love you. But that courage to be in that space and to be like, this is how I feel. I don't got to be apologetic about nothing. This is what it is. Yeah. Then that gives all the energy direction. Right. And everything can now start pouring into that. Okay, cool. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing. Okay, let's go. And I just love that. You know, I love that. So a lot of these things I just learned on my journey. But as far as I still battle it today, we still battle imposter syndrome. We still battle many of the threads that were woven into our fabric through years and years and years of upbringing. And that's just lineage. Your parents' traumas, your grandparents' traumas will get born into you some way. Part of your job, especially as an artist and a creative, is to become more self-aware, see what things are making you call shots, and decide with a more intentional purpose. Oh, no. This is the person that I want to be. You know what I'm saying? If you want to make records that are about positivity and not about guns and not about clapping cheeks or what have you, then why don't you do that? And why don't you be authentic to that and commit to that, as opposed to being lured around what the culture is selling, as opposed to how you really feel, like what you came in here to say. I came in here to get this off my chest, That's my purpose and that's my aim and that's my goal. And I'm committed to that. That song is the baby now. And somebody got to feed the baby. Now, if we start tricking the baby off, well, you know, baby really just needs some Fly J's and the baby really needs to be pouring Dom. And all right, if you say so, and if that's really what works for you, by all means, handle your business. Nothing wrong with that. But your artistry requires courage. You know what I'm saying? Your artistry and your creativity requires a knowledge of self. Give me just a moment. Yeah. Okay.
That's real.
The shit is heavy.
Yeah.
Being 100, you know what I'm saying? If we being 100 is heavy as fuck because it's not for everyone.
It's not.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And this is where you see like industry plants or people that are in the industry that are like, oh, you're clearly being manipulated to do and to push a further narrative.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And I just reject that whole.
See that too.
You know what I'm saying? Like imagine, just imagine, your grandma been cooking soul food. As long as you known her, she whips it up this way. This is what it is. And then you go somewhere else and they're like, oh, no. This is soul food. Look, it's the McDonald's soul food section. And this is what it is, right? And you're like, hold on. That's not soul food.
Right.
It's food. You can sustain yourself on it. And if that's what you enjoy, by all means, enjoy it. But don't call it what it's not. Okay? And feel free if I reject it for being, oh, well, that's not soul food. It's delicious, or it might be whatever. But that's just my take on that. I'm a little bit protective of the culture, if you will, because it raised me.
As it should, as you should be. I would say, as you should be.
So if you love it, part of a man's job is to be protective of it. You know what I'm saying? Part of a woman's job in her womanness is to create healthiness around it. And a man's job is to help create protection around it so that these things can thrive and build, right? And so not to like put any gender roles on anybody, but just love. You know what I'm saying? Just love how we love them. So.
Yeah. Damn, very inspirational, motivational, which kind of, is within your music too, of how, inspirational you are within that. And so with all of that, like, where did you get that from? Like, did you read any books about that, or was it just through like life experiences of just, grounding yourself in that sense?
I mean, life will be the greatest lesson, especially if you're listening. Right. You're paying attention there. All of your experiences are designed to fortify you or decay you. And it's your choice. Yeah. Some things need to decay. Some things need to die. Right. And to make room for other ideas and other thoughts. But as far as like, I just always had a willingness and a thirst. Wanting to is one thing, and actually acting upon that thing is another thing. So if you want to know something, that's dope. I want to know about engineering. I want to know how the TV works. Yeah. Okay, going through the effort of finding that out is another thing. So that's your will, right? And imposing your will on the thing is like, yo, that's when it's like what they say about faith. Faith without works is dead. It means if you believe in something, that means show me, put it into form, utilize your present to act upon the right now and do something that says, yo, I believe, even if that's you, especially if that's you, I believe in myself. Okay, well, are you writing every day? Oh, no, because I got tired. Okay, well, are you putting effort in towards yourself? Are you putting any works behind your belief? You know what I'm saying? And in fact, what we don't understand is like the combination, not either one of them independently, but the combination of them together. Hard work without any belief in yourself is kind of like dogma. And faith without any works is kind of like almost like dogma as well. I'm just believing. Why? I don't know why. I'm just believing. Okay, well, I believe with a sincere intent to move and to affect the space around me. You see what I'm saying? Right. I don't know why, but that's just my purpose on being on this planet. Or we're going to know he was here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For better or for worse, we're going to know that boy made his move, made his impact, and made value out of each one of those heartbeats. You given only so many heartbeats. What you want to do with them? Right. 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 There is a finite amount of heartbeats you will have. Choose wisely about how they're going to be exercised into this world. But more so to answer your question, I'm sorry, we're getting into that space.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I can read as much as I can get my hands on that. I don't typically, there's so many books to read. It's hard to like pick one. So I take a lot of, if somebody's like, yo, you should read that. And those are the ones I jump into. Or I listen to a lot of what my mentors are listening to. Like, if Black Thought say he's reading it, I'm reading it. J. Cole say he's reading it, I'm reading it. You know what I mean? Because I want to know. But mostly about the expression, it's imagine being this creature who has been shushed and quieted down and come from a beautiful Detroit family, D-Town. What's up? But you get put into this box, small, right? You know what I'm saying? You get this big old Jimmy energy, and you try and put in this little tiny box, and you're going to work a 9 to 5, and it's going to be perfect for you. And imagine like the distraught as I'm pushing on these boundaries, like, yo, this is not. I'm feeling choked. I'm feeling drowned right here. And then the things that in that path of belief that we've been able to build, I mean, that should be evidence in and of itself of what you can do when you set your mind to it.
Right.
Am I where I want to be? No, we're not talking about if you're executing on goals. We're talking about, can you see your growth? Yeah. And the things we've been able to do, it gives me a why not me? And especially when it comes to the culture, oh, well, you can't, and you're not Black enough, and you're not hood enough, and you missed me with all that.
That's their perspective.
You know what I'm saying? You're not going to sit up here and tell me who I am, what I am. I'm a part of this culture. I'm a breathing, living entity of this culture, as are you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So no one gets no one gonna give me no fucking permission slip on what I'm gonna do or what I'm not gonna do. And part of that fuck you attitude, part of that I'm gonna do what I gotta do and I'm gonna say what I gotta say. Attitude is a necessary ingredient where you're gonna get anything accomplished. It's like, nah. Have a little bit of that. Have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder because it's gonna be a fight.
Yeah.
The journey to having anything of value is a little bit of a fight, even just making dollars. Okay, well, yeah. Let alone creating something beautiful that wasn't there before. Oh, it's going to be a fight.
Yeah, no, I definitely. I've had, and I'm learning that right now myself. It's just having that growth and continuing to grow with myself and having that attitude towards things instead of what is it called, people pleasing, I guess you could say. Like going through that and just overcoming that still. So,
well, just remember the question that's being asked for you right now is a question of authenticity. It's okay. Right? Kindness and being a nice person. I love being a kind person. I'm gonna wear it on my sleeve all the time. However, that's my choice to do so. And the fact of the matter is, if you really feel like throwing hands, well, we can do that too. If you really feel like getting into the scrum of it, if you really feel like having an intellectual debate, if you really feel like throwing snaps, like we're gonna talk mama jokes. Oh, I can wear all those hats. My choice is to be kind. But if you do not have a choice and that's the only thing you know how to do, is it a choice at all?
Right.
So sometimes, and this is where you have all of your emotions for a reason and they have their space. Right. So if you're going to be angry and you need to be angry for 5 seconds, take your 5 seconds and let them be that. Right.
Right.
And then release it.
Right. And let that be that. Because you need your tools. Those are all tools. You need the right tool for the right job. Like, we're not washing windows with a hammer because that's the wrong tool for that job. Right. But if you didn't have a hammer at all, you would find yourself a little bit short when it came to being effective in the world.
Absolutely. I definitely agree to that. I have a similar story as well with the people pleasing. But I just kind of wanted to spin it back because you talked about growth. So I kind of wanted to talk about the growth between your 2 EPs that you have currently. Mm-hmm. And you also talked about like Gambino kind of being like an influence of like that style as well. So how did Gambino cultivate your craft in your music style?
Also, just a heads up, you guys, we have 8 minutes left in this, so I can start another meeting and then we can continue on in that other meeting.
Okay. I was just, because I was looking at the time, I was like, wait, I have to get my questions in.
There's too much good stuff going on.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
But just so, let me see if I can get this sorted. So, to be alive in this world is to, risk is inherent. All of life is an investment. Okay. How you spend your time, your money, your effort, your energy, how you spend that is an investment. You only know that from the fact that raising a child or growing a plant or feeding a dog requires investment, and you see it grow. Okay. But understanding that because it's an investment, risk is inherent. Risk is inherent with investment. People talk about stock market. Risk is inherent. The most beautiful things come from the other side of risk. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. You hear that term. Okay, cool. But furthermore, we have fear. We have fear for a reason. It can be a catalyst for movement. We also have courage for a reason. And your courage is the mechanism to guide you over those spaces of risk. There can be no love without courage. There can be no creativity without courage. There cannot be so many of these beautiful things without risk and the courage to overcome it. Okay. So if those things aren't present, authenticity tends to be minimized, or the reward of the impact on the people tends to be minimized. Okay. That's what we get out of when you say like politicians will dance on the fence. They're neither hot nor cold. They're very lukewarm. Oh, well, we're going to try and do that, but we're not really going to make any effort. Right. And that ends up making less of an impact on the people themselves. They can be galvanized on what we noticed from Trump, be it good or bad. He was hard towards one direction and was like, fuck you about it. And what you going to do? Okay. And he galvanized many people with that. Same thing with Malcolm. Malcolm was like, by any means necessary, you're going to stop fucking with us, period. And I'm going to show you through leadership, through solidarity, through organization, through education. And so we get the intention of let your yeses be yeses, let your nos be nos, and be clear, you know what I'm saying? And have the courage to take a risk.
Yeah, definitely. And with that and taking risks in your music, I know that you also produce most of your music. Yeah. Was that
everything I have a hand on? Everything. That's my babies. I want to know what's going on, right? so like a lot of shout out to all the great songwriters I've had a chance to work with. Blue Magic and produced by Ty, and there's so many names. Kane Beats. They put this Brain Baby out into the world to say, who wants to jump on this? And this beautiful collaborative spirit. And so, but that, what I'm hearing, what they give you is wood and nails. They give you resources. I'm like, oh, this is really good wood and this is really good nails, but it's my job to build it into a house. You know what I mean? So, and part of that in my relationship with Youngin, David Youngin Kim, who is Grammy nominated engineer and / producer, he's a phenomenal musical mind. In that space, to be able to bounce ideas off this cat, we finding gems. You know what I mean? We're really challenging the landscape of what it is we came out to create. Many times I have an idea of what I think it will be. What it ends up being is much better because of that collaborative spirit.
Yeah. Again, that's the kind, and that was the question I was kind of leewaying into too, is that with your music making process, how is that? Do you write it first and then have the beat, or is it, and how do you know, okay, let's say you have the song already written out, how, like, with the beat itself, how do you know, okay, I want to add this snare drum to this, or how does the lyrics match with what the beat is, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it's filling a lot. You have to fill it out. And there is talent in that. Some people just have an ear for it.
Yeah. But
there's a skill set in it also when you bang away at it on a regular and learn more. The right snare can change everything. The hi-hat sound can change everything about gluing things and allowing space and room and you don't realize these things But it's like you didn't just need the sugar and the eggs to make a cake. You needed all of the ingredients, even the little tablespoon of vanilla, even the little things that really make it what it is. And so, man, as far as the process goes, writing is take it how you can get it. But you got to beat away at your craft. So that means if you get an idea and there's no beat to it, write it down, fill it out. And if you're a wordsmith, you'll find the cadence in there without the music. You'll just know it's in there. I'm going to find the snare that's going to run with this. This is going to run it up. But more than enough times, that beat inspires something out of you. As soon as you hear it, like, oh, I got to get this and this. And it lights something up in you, right?
Right.
And it's also how you know that you are a participle of this thing, a conduit, if you will. A lot of times it happens through you, not of you, right? If we're being 100, like, let's just put all ego aside. Many of the things we do, we think like, oh, yeah, I did that. Oh, okay. It's foolish to think that, but it's like saying, oh, because I got a bucket full of water that I made it rain. No. You know what I mean? You went and did the work to go get water from a source that was already there. I went to the river and the river was flowing and I got a bucket full of water and I brought it back to the house. Hooray. Thank you for bringing the water. Well, if we being real, I'm just the thing that happened through, but thank goodness for a river close by that we can actually have water. Let's be real.
Right.
So in that space, you find both humility, you find purpose, and you find some like a little bit of like, I'm all right. I'm doing my thing over here because maybe nobody else got the water. And you found a way to go get it. Cool. Pat yourself on the back for that and keep it moving. Because last time I checked, you didn't make it rain.
Right. All facts.
Seriously. Yeah. So last we spoke about was, the whole producing thing and, connecting with different producers. I did see that. And I wanted to ask, I know that you collaborated with Ruben Rojas at one point. Yeah. How was that experience? How did you guys both collab and link up?
Yeah, that's my bro, man. That's a good dude. His wife and I used to work together at a restaurant. I was managing the restaurant. She was doing like social media and marketing.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, just good energy, just passing back and forth. And then she was like, I got to meet my husband, da-da-da-da. And we connected and it was cool. And then I kept on like, we just became like, IG friends or whatever. And then obviously through posting music. And then I don't know how he heard some of my stuff, but probably through his wifey. But a shout out to Z. But he was like, she sent me a video like, oh, St. James guy, pretty good. Yeah. And I just thought that was cool. I mean, just a little unique moment. But then I obviously like through building, we just ambitious and we just bounced ideas off of each other. And then it was like, yo, let's do this. Yo, let's do that. He had a podcast. I got on the podcast and I saw this piece that he did. And I'm like, yo, that's the album right there. That's the album cover right there. And so, and just obviously, and also through Nobodyville, like we made an ambition to try and just be really intelligent with the brand. And so we got rid of like hang tags, like the tag that's like connected here. And it's like, yeah. The first thing you do is pop it off and throw it in the trash.
Rip it.
Right. So I got with Ruben, I was like, why don't we make this limited edition prints? So you pop it off and it's a collectible now.
Yeah.
It still does the exact same thing. So brand recognition, but let's not make trash. Let's not go out and make trash. You know what I'm saying? Let's make something special.
Yeah. And I was going to steer away into the Nobody Collective brand that you have. So with that, was that like the background and the backstory of how that brand was started with that? Or how did that come about?
No, it's been like a brain baby for eons, man, for forever. Like I said, like, well, the brand itself is two concepts. It's nobody lives forever. So do something. And it takes a village to do anything great. It takes a village. And so like I was telling you about my boys with Diverse Link, the DL squad was like a little family in and of itself, a little village. And our togetherness is what made us succeed. You know what I mean? Our togetherness was what gave each other even just the inkling of, oh, I can do something of value. Oh, I can be special. Oh, I'm not. And so it was us becoming a fist that gave us any strength at all. Because as fingers, we were just, kind of like not as effective. You know what I mean? Not as potent. But so Nobodyville kind of came out of that idea and about the power of our collective nature, the power of what we can do together. And more specifically, what you'd be surprised what you can get accomplished when nobody needs the credit. Just operating on the best interests of X. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's it's an operation of love, but good things come around that. So
yeah. And is there any like upcoming stuff related to Nobody that you guys are working on, or like what else?
Nobodyville is, so the brand just dropped in October. And that's online at nobodyville.com. And obviously just so the last music video that we did was for Stunt Double. And I just wanted to make it like, yo, this is what we can do when we set our minds to it. And so we put almost Nobodyville in almost every shot, like just to make sure like y'all need to know what we're doing is legit. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Stunt Double video is really, really cool. How, like, what was the backstory, or like what how can I say this? What was it like shooting that, and what was the backstory behind the music video itself? Is there like, what was the meaning behind it?
Yeah. So the song is about like when I get it, I'm going twice as hard. It's kind of a Kobe mentality. And when he got to the league is when he started working, as opposed to when a lot of people get to the league, it's like, oh, I made it, I'm done. So Stunt Double was just like, when I get it, I'm gonna make sure that we're changing and shifting and pushing forward. So the homeboy, who's the cinematographer and just incredible video work, my man Cameron Jacker, we connected on a shoot in San Diego, and he was like, yeah, we'll shoot a music video, sounds dope. And then I was like, no, for real, I really do this, let's go. And then we got into like unfolding it and developing it, and the storyline just started coming together, especially with like, you get like, okay, let's make some cool shots, but why? Let's tell a little bit of story.
Yeah.
So in the story, you see like hardworking dude. He works like, it's a trash man. Okay. And he's like, go get it. So he's making his calls and doing his thing, connects with the homeboy, figures out a way to get the bag. And when he got the bag, it was like, shit, I'm going to figure out a way to get away from the grind and hustle and being in that cage mentality. And I'm going to go up in the hills and live it for myself and just be free of all that. So, but yeah, man, good stuff though. I'm still like hyped that we were able to do that. A lot of what we've been able to do, I'm like, dang, did we do that?
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild.
Is there one moment where you were like just that peak moment of like, wow, this is unreal?
Honestly, I get wild on a regular. More specifically, there's a ton of moments. You get them all throughout your career.
Yeah.
First time, really, I really have been making music for a long time, but when I decided to make hip hop, and when I decided to say, no, I got to say my piece. Too many people are allowed to say their piece in here that I disagree with. When I decided to make St. James, it was an intention to, first it was just like, I just want to make music again because I love it. And because I'm a nurse. I stopped music for a while to become a nurse. Sorry about we're going on some small tangent here. Storytelling time, okay? Okay, so I became a nurse, right? And a lot of that was like, somebody taught me that I was smart. Okay. I got a scholarship. I studied at Oxford. Many, many great things happened from going to school, from nursing school and becoming a nurse. Early on, one of my old heads was like, okay, so if money was no object and you couldn't be a nurse anymore, what are you doing? I said, rock and roll, put me on stage, say less. I don't have to think twice about that. Not for a minute. It's my DNA. She's like, well, sounds like that's what you should be doing. And so I was like, okay, let me get back to work and quit playing these games. trying to be something that I'm not. Well, then the culture of it was, okay, well, now you got something to say. Now, what do you want to say? Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what it feels like to be not Black enough. Let's talk about what it feels like to say that, oh, because you're not gang affiliated, you're not a real nigga. I don't know if I agree with all that. I feel like it's a lot of people telling you what a real nigga is, and they don't look like you.
Okay. I agree with that.
Right? Which brings me some pause, like, hold on. I mean, I've even had, God bless them. Like, I got homies of every color, but I've had homegirls be like, I don't know, he's not like black. Like, he doesn't talk black.
Are you serious?
What does that sound like? You know what I'm saying? No, but it just begs the question. It's not your fault that you don't know. But there certainly was some intention behind why you don't know. Be that your own or be that some force, an industry, could be. But as that infects the community about, say, hey, in fact, I mean, you can go into like many signings for record labels and they're gonna be like, well, are you gang affiliated? Have you ever been to prison? Be really nice if you were. Miss me with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, as if this culture hasn't impacted me and I haven't grown from this culture and through this culture. My old man worked his ass off to make sure it wasn't that. That's not Black culture. That's not hip hop. I'm sorry. I disagree. My family migrated from Detroit, where I got cousins that are not here today from participating in those parts of the culture. Drug culture, gang culture. Okay, cool. And they got away from that on purpose. So I'm supposed to honor that work to become a real nigga so I can pull us right back into where they worked so hard to get away from. Some of this math ain't mathing. So instead of that, I took it upon myself to say, no. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to say it the way I want to say it. And that is that we are all contributors and everything y'all see and promote this much of the culture. This is what the culture really is. You know what I mean? And when they talk about hip hop, they'll leave so many things out. Hip hop is 5 elements: breakdancing, DJing, MCing, graffiti, right? Okay, so like, miss me with the, it's just hip hop heads and lyrically dense and so on and so forth and talk your shit. What we're talking about is a soul's capacity to create and express in that space. That's hip hop culture, right? Remove everything they told you what it was and remember that you are a participant and you are one of the cells in this great moving body, right? So my expression comes from, okay, I wanted to show you that I could do it. So I'll be lyrically dense too, but I'm not going to pigeonhole myself into being what they told you you're supposed to be what the fuck I am. And if you don't like it, I guess you're not supposed to be here. But I didn't make it for you to like me. I made it because it was absolutely necessary for the breath to enter into my lungs. If the next thing that came out wasn't this, you missed me, right? Or I messed up. I mistook on an opportunity the universe gave me to say my piece. I'm going to use it. Okay? So even songs like Stunt Double, it's like, okay, it's fun. And we having a good time. I'm trying to do my best to marry because it's still got to move you because it's still music.
Right.
Yeah, say my piece too. Let's be thoughtful. Let's be considerate. Let's be courageous. So, amen.
So just kind of bouncing off of that, would you say St. James was created to kind of kill the narrative of like stereotypes in the industry?
It was to be anti-hero in that space. You are walking, talking street art. You are physically moving graffiti.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit aggressive. It's grimy. Typically, it's painted. It happens in impoverished spaces. But for those who know what to look for, it's beautiful. And last time I checked, you couldn't make it. With all your finger shaking and all your perfectionism, you know what I'm saying, that rose still grew from the concrete.
Okay.
Right?
I literally have that painted on my wall right now.
It's confluence, baby. It's confluence. Okay.
No, I definitely connect with that. That's real because like I'm definitely, I feel like I'm a hip hop activist. Like especially here, I go to a PWI. So like, just like having my voice into that and to be like, no, this is what real hip hop is, when they like remix songs that are like mainstream and like they really boost like all of that, like gang affiliated and all that stuff. It's like, no, that's not really what hip hop is. That stuff they went through, that stuff they talk about, but that's not what hip hop is. So I definitely can attest to that as well.
Right. Or just imagine like, if you went to the grocery store, you're 6 years old, and you stole a pack of gum. Are you a thief forever?
Mm.
Is that the only thing you are capable of being, is a thief? Or are you innumerably multifaceted, and that is one of your many, many experiences? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So all that to say is that as St. James exists, it primarily operates as a service to make sure that those like-minded have a space that they can stand in and understand, I can be beautiful here. So, and to fucking try, right? Give it a shot. Why not? Bet big on you.
Nobody lives forever, so why not give it a try, right?
Talk. So,
because you never know.
I'll tell you what you will know. You'll know for a fact if you don't try what will happen from that. Absolutely know what will happen from that. Right? So, and last time I checked, it's nobody else's job to see a vision for you.
Right.
You've been gifted with a vision. The universe opened that up in your mind. Many of us will struggle with how is that going to be received. Well, it's not their job to see a vision for you. So stop asking them. Can't you see it? It's going to be great. Right. When they're not as enthused as you are, sometimes we lose motivation. As opposed to
road.
Right.
Yep, same here.
And it's part of how we were raised. The people pleasing aspect is a part of be well received, especially in your Blackness, because it will make you more hireable. It will make you more, socially acceptable. However, when we were operating on choice, not dogma, when we're operating, okay, I'll be kind, but understand that's my choice. And I gave you that because that's who I want to be, not because that's what you require. Very subtle difference between the two things, but it's the same thing as if you give your woman roses on Valentine's Day because if you don't, she'll leave you, or if you do because that's really what you wanted to do.
Right.
The thought behind the why behind it is massively different. Right? You're just doing this so I don't leave. Okay, well then I'll just get you roses on the day that ain't that day and tell you how you really feel, right? So that you can know this is authentic from me because this is who I want to be.
100%.
So, food for thought.
Yeah, that's real, Jimmy. Really, I can definitely attest to that. With my last relationship, that was brutal.
Give him grace. Give him grace. Give him grace. Give him grace. Give him grace.
Definitely grace, forgiven, all that stuff. It's in the past. New person now.
Amen.
Yeah. So I do understand because you talk about growth and stuff like that. With your 2 EPs that you have currently.
3.
3. I'm so sorry. 3 EPs that you have currently. How was the growth from, or can you see like the similarities and difference between these projects?
For sure. As it's growing, I'm finding a lot more of how I want to say it. It's becoming a lot more like a lot of times you're listening to the music and you're responding to what it's telling you. Now we get getting into a space where the skill set is growing, where we can start dictating a bit more. This is how I want it to feel. I'd like some more aggression in this space. But the growth from EP1. See, like I feel like Salt and Light. I feel like that's a gem. Like I feel like it's slept on, highly slept on. But I love it. You know what I mean? Like I love what it is. I love what it says. But to be in the space of, you'll say you can make this, but you won't, is a little bit more risk because we're trying out things that haven't been done before under this moniker. But just some leaps, and to say, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what we're going to do is going to be something that's self-expressive. It's going to be as beautiful as we can possibly make it, without compromising any of the authenticity or any of the realness. But as we're growing in the space, I feel like the next EP that's coming is going to be a little bit more transparent. And I feel like the one that's coming after that, I'm trying to shake niggas out their boots. I'm trying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to fuck some shit up. You know what I mean? Like, but on some, like, please don't give me, I don't need another conversation about what hip hop is. To me, this is what it is. And so this is what I'm going to do. It's going to be a little bit grown up. And let me just jump into that, if you don't mind. We are just now having the beautiful luxury of seeing hip hop grow up, as if hip hop had to remain and stay sneakers and cars and chains, right? Okay, cool. When we were all 22, that shit was fly. But when you become 35, you stop considering those things because you don't go to the club no more. What about our financial investments? What are our capacity to build business? What about our travel network? What does your passport look like? Why are we not discussing this? Thankfully, we get a Jay-Z, we get a Nas. Thankfully, we get young men who got a chance to grow up and still be able to express themselves on this level. And you'll be like, damn, I needed that because I'm fucking grown now. Right? Even the beautiful records that are 444 and Mr. Morrow. Mm. Those are grown man records. You know what I'm saying? Talking about what it's really like to be a grown man and go through some woe in your life and have some relationship trouble and understand you got to keep on pushing. Despite it being incredibly exhausting without any instruction manual and no light at the end of this tunnel. Almost operating purely off of faith. And such a brave and courageous thing for the culture to have. We needed it. And I love it. If the Rolling Stones can still do concert, damn it, I want to see, I want to see Nas at 100 and I want to see, and I want to see Hove at, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead. And
bring everybody.
Right? Bring.
Yeah. So, and then with that, do you have a favorite? I know that you mentioned before in other interviews that, Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar, Black Thought are some of your influences. Mm-hmm. Do you personally have a favorite album of each?
Of course. Yeah, of course. Of course. But even like going back into what we talked about earlier with Gambino.
Yeah.
His capacity to inject risk into the space makes me admire him. Tyler, Kendrick. I'm going to do it this way because this is the way I feel like doing it. Not because this is the way I'm guaranteeing you're going to like it. Different, right? And I'm going to answer your question, and we need to answer that question because I feel like it's a good one. But also, like the Billboard Top 50, look, I'm a little bit shook, okay? Because like I'm saying to you, right? Like I'm saying to you, we got like, I think it was like Nicki at like 10 and Andre 3 Stacks at like 13 or 15. And I was like, you're high. You're high, okay? This nigga 3 Stacks done broke the internet twice, okay? And none of it ever happened from the shape of his ass or titties. I'm just saying, okay? This is not a knock against Nicki. I fuck with Nicki. I love Nicki. But you're not going to ever convince me that this is a better MC than 3 Stacks. They don't say keep your heart Nicki. They say keep your heart 3 Stacks. And they say that because that shit meant something to all of us, right? I don't go down the street and say boom, 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 baby. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. 100%.
Right? Not to say that I don't know every word to Monster, because I do.
Right.
Say that Nicki ain't bad because Nicki bad.
Absolutely.
But Nicki got there off of what we know about human nature You know what I'm saying? And our love of all things sexual. Okay, cool, great. Sex sells. We understand that. 3 Stacks was doing almost everything he could to be the antithesis of those things and still spoke poetry into our ears over and over and over again and made us say, damn, wow, 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 consistently. That type of risk makes me admire you as an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And almost to the point where it made me want to put my pen down. I'm like, they just too good. They said what needed to get said. I don't need to. But then, you remember that you're not them. Then you're you, and you had better say your piece. But you get me on the Phrenology from start to finish, you might as well have tattooed it across my forehead. I couldn't stop playing it. So for a Roots record and for a Black Thought record, like to hear Black Thought do his thing on that and to hear that musical beast be so much more than what we were allowing hip hop to be, especially at the time, that's a great record start to finish. The Blueprint and 444, Magna Carta, Holy Grail. Stop. Just stop. The Blueprint is just gross. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just put it on and things. I still listen to it today. Like it's going to shift some things in your life. I know everyone gives Nas his love for Illmatic. There's a couple of joints on there that that are just obviously they're just classics. So the whole record is a classic. But the things he's doing now, King's Disease, Magic, King's Disease 2, King's Disease 3. I'm sorry. This is exceptional. This is exceptional work. You know what I mean? And you got to give a shout to Hit Boy for that and to Youngin for that, because what they're doing in that space is just really letting this incredible artist resurrect himself and step into his greatness, because he's great.
Yeah.
Miles is great. Man, Sweatpants 4 for Gambino and This Is America.
Yes.
This is
my two favorites. My two favorites. There's a lot of people, they're like, oh, I can't listen to This Is America a lot. I'm like, why can't you? Why can't you? I always listen to it.
Right? This sounds like you got something salty on you, okay? Because
Right.
you can't This Is America. Oh, come on, man. It's first of all, it's all the things we talked about. You heard it on Brown Sugar, the movie. A tight flow over a dope beat. That beat gonna move you with no words on it. Mm-hmm. But then what you took is an opportunity to say something that definitively needed to be said. That it was all on our hearts. It was all on our minds. But this motherfucker went and put it out there and was like, and what? Hey, that's why you do it. That's why you do it, right? When Hov gets on that record with Nipsey, y'all, I'm selling weed in the open. Y'all got your food on my desk. I lost all my little respect. I brought them crackers to my Capitol. I'm like, as soon as you took the moment to say those things that absolutely needed to be said, and he's also saying, pray for me, y'all. One day I'm gonna have to pay for these thoughts. Because to think them is one thing, but he put those thoughts on a record. And now they emanate and they affect the space around him. Dangerous. Beautiful and dangerous. And bravo to him for saying it anyway. And what? Yeah. Amen. Like that's why we do. That's why it needs to be done. Speaking truth to power is one of the soul's primary functions.
Yeah, definitely. And it's crazy. I was going back to Nas really quick. I thought it was crazy how King's Disease was his first ever Grammy win, which I thought was insane.
And then
he's been in the game for so long, and so for him to get it just in like right now, it's wild to me.
There's some gems on that record too. Yeah. Even some of the intention behind some of the joints that are on that record, like I'm not sure if you've seen If Bill Street Could Talk, but they got a sample If Bill Street Could Talk, and I'm just like, that's layers of nuance. If somebody who's hearing these stories, that's culture. That's culture upon culture, depths of celebrating the culture. Man, that's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me that record's not worth every amount of it. And the thing that shakes me is that won the award, and the same award was given to Macklemore's record. That's why I have a problem, right? It's the same award.
Yeah, I was upset about that too.
You see what I'm saying? It's the same award. But one of those things is vastly more potent to the culture and vastly more necessary, right? So, it's a good thing they didn't go crazy with Mr. Morrow, because they probably would have set them streets on fire, man. Everybody know that was the record. That was it. It's him, and there ain't no other him. It's him. Okay.
Yep. All right. I got the 10-minute warning again. Kiana, did you have any other questions for?
No, I just really I guess my last question is just because like you pull from a lot of different elements as far as like your music style in like your EPs and stuff. So how would you like format that into like beginning to end? Because in your one EP you had it was sorry, I'm looking for the Long Way. You started with Long Way, and it kind of told a story throughout like the whole EP. So like, was that intentional when you put that as like the top song?
Yeah. Sometimes you got to bust them in the mouth straight out of the gate. Straight out of the gate. Like, I would love to have a little bit of intro here and some nice swooning music or a little poetry from somebody, but sometimes you got to bust them in their mouth. Like, we in there. But there's so many influences that come into how we create now. Like, big Incubus fan, big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, big Stevie Wonder fan. Sly and the Family Stone, P-Funk, Parliament, and George Clinton. Just Cube changed what hip hop was with that collaboration. This is our music. And we understand what a music is. It is a language that is meant to be universal. And so, Drake makes a dance record. That's great. It's a good record. It's not what we expected from Drake, but it's not bad. You know what I'm saying? May also not be hip hop, but
I prefer the old Drake. That's
right. But just because it's Drake don't mean you got to be handcuffed just to hip hop. Make music if that's what you want to make, right? No problem. Right. And music is it's incredibly subjective. Like what you like. Everything's out there so you can have a choice and like what you like. Also, the reason why you got to make what you need to make. Because if everybody going to have their piece, okay, you might as well have yours, right? And if you're not musically talented, that's okay. Your self-expression has a value and it's worth it. You might not sell records off that, but if you needed to say it, then go on and say it. So, but what we'll continue to do, and this is my guarantee and this is my promise to like any loved ones and any people like yourselves investing in this creature with their time and effort and energy and skill sets. I'm going to continue to push that envelope and push that narrative of self-expression, self-determination. What we can do when we set our minds to it. It don't matter if I sell 1 million records. It matters that maybe one little boy or little girl in the street get to look in the mirror a little bit differently tomorrow. And say, you know what? If Jimmy said I could do it, then I could do it. Well, maybe so. You come on, you keep going with that. All right. But they're still fighting us, and we're going to keep on fighting, and we're going to keep on doing what we need to do to get that message across.
And when can we expect any new music coming out soon? When I'm
going to drop something at the end of the month, just because I like y'all like that. Why don't we do it? Why not?
Appreciate that so much.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again, Jimmy, for hopping on with us in this meeting or this interview. It was great getting to know you more and all that good stuff. And you're so inspirational. You inspired me to keep going in my journalism career. Yeah, no words, man. This was such a very
Heavy.
everything.
I wrote notes. I was like, I'm gonna write out all the notes right now.
I got the recordings, rewatch them, and have them motivate me just to keep going. So I really appreciate your time. And we will definitely, hopefully, see her speak in the near future when that new music comes out. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. My pleasure. You guys are a gift. Thank you so much.